The Young Minds Corner podcast. Welcome to another insightful, interesting, and very resourceful episode of The Corner. Honestly, I must say that I love the way the month of March is going for The Corner because of the learning, of the experiences, of the conversations we've been having. And I must say, thank you so much for listening, for sharing The Corner with me, and also telling people about the greatness that is coming out of this place. Also, thank you for all of the engagement on all of our social media posts. Honestly, I must say thank you because you guys are making that place a soft landing for me, and I love it. Thank you very much. What can I do without you? Maybe eat. You know I'm a foodie and I love it. All right. So today we are going to be talking about something deeper. We are going to be diving into a very real conversation. I know by the topic on the flyer, I already know what we are talking about, but I will tell you the way I want to tell you. Today, we are going to be discussing and allow somebody share his experience of how he built something out of the seemingly maybe nothing, or building something from nothing. Officially, the topic is from zero to something, how a creative or an entrepreneur can build something from the scratch. And to do justice to this episode, I have with me the amazing, the talented, the prolific Mr. Seggun. Mr. Seggun is the CEO of Kelsh Tech Limited, and he's one person that I respect so much. He's a go-getter, he's devoted, he's a sweet person and very caring, if I do say so myself. He's purpose-driven, and I love that and I respect that about him. So yes, welcome with me, Mr. Seggun. Hi, Mr. Seggun, how are you?
Hello, Viola. Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for having me here to be with you. Such an honor, and I am very pleased to be here with you. Thank you for the amazing thing that you're doing with the Young Minds Corner. I've listened to your podcast a couple of times myself, and I think you're doing a really great job. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for the listen. Oh God, I never thought that. Thank you honestly for accepting my invite and squeezing The Corner into your busy schedule. Honestly, this is something. Thank you. So yes, let's get right to it. There is no Young Minds Corner podcast without a backstory, right? So let me give you a little backstory of how I met Mr. Seggun. So I would say that when I moved to the States, Mr. Seggun is one of those people that actually gave me a soft landing when it comes to like staying or like relating to people. I remember when I celebrated my first birthday in this city, he came to me and he was like, "Oh, Biola, you did not tell us that it was your birthday. That is not kind enough." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not full with these people just yet, so I'm just trying to take my time, and it just happened to be my birthday." But like that little effort of kindness actually said something to me and made me even open myself up to the gathering, and yes, I am grateful for that. Another backstory is that I sent these invites for Mr. Seggun to be on this podcast severally, both official, unofficial, and several times. But he did one that actually got to my heart. He sent me for the official invite. He sent me an official rejection, official no, and he tagged it a polite way of saying no. And in my head, I'm like, my God, what my God cannot do does not exist. See who is at the corner with me, Mr. Seggun. Are you excited?
I don't know what you're talking about, but here we are. Let's take this away.
Okay. So, Mr. Seggun, are you ready to open up yourself and your tips to me and my corner mates? Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm super excited about this, really. I'm just super excited.
All right. No problem. So, before we get into like the deep conversation and serious conversation, let's have a little bit of soft landing. Let's have a little bit of conversation. So are you ready?
Sure,
let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, so would you rather work 80 hours a week at the job you love, or 20 hours doing what you hate?
I would rather do 200 hours with what I love, actually.
200.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. I love that. 200 hours indeed.
But every coin has two sides, right? So there's a flip side of every coin. For instance, doing what I love means that can mean different things at different times, right? So I need to understand what standpoint are you asking this question from?
What you love, like profession, like as a creative, or maybe your profession. You're like, okay, this is what I love to do, and I want to put all my mind.
Yeah, that's it. 80 hours of what I love. Yeah, 100% of the time. Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. So what's the first thing you do every morning? First thing
I do every morning I wake up is to pray. Just while I'm on my bed, I have a collection of affirmations, really. So I'm just talking to my mind. I'm grateful, I'm really grateful. Each day I wake up I'm reminded of how I started, where I'm coming from.
Right.
And so I start off with, that warm heart of gratitude, just thanking God for how God has showed up for me and all of that. And I am always very excited about every day. Every day is like a new day for me. So there's no starting over, or like I'm continuing what I started yesterday. No. I'm not starting over. I'm like, today's a big day. We do new things. Let's get it started. Yeah, that's how I will start my day.
Are you single?
Yes, and sometimes recently I got my heart smashed. But I'm not gonna mention the name of the person for privacy reasons. I'll not mention the name of the person.
Passion or profit?
Passion or profit? Both, actually.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yes.
That's crazy. I have a different philosophy about life. Sometimes it's profit, baby, and sometimes it's passion. So it's just both.
Oh my goodness! I love the fact that you are being expressive with all of your answers. I love it. Thank you very much. All right. So I know that you're a PR consultant. Now my corner mates know that you're a PR consultant. You are creative. You run businesses. You're very hardworking. I know that for sure. But before you became this Mr. Seggun, that everybody's like, oh my God, Seggun's doing excellently. Can you take us? Let's rewind a bit. Let's go back the memory lane. What was your experience like? What was your journey like?
Yeah, I could try to think of the fact that I had zero background in everything I'm doing today. Zero background in anything I'm doing today, and I didn't grow up in an environment where everything was available. If you say people who came from humble beginning, my beginning was the humblest of the humble. Really, really humble. I was raised by a single mom, and so some of the philosophies I learned from my mom. Not having conversation with her, just basically watching her do things she did, see her struggle and all of that. I kind of just those moments just kind of helped me form to my personal convictions about how my life was going to be and what I don't want in my life and all of that. So the experience that I had in my background was like everything I do not want to have my kids, have. So one of the things that has motivated me over the years is I'm always like, I don't go allow my children go through kind of thing. Yeah. So even though I'm not married yet, but my kids, really, it's funny, it's weird, but my kids are my motivation for real.
That's something.
Yeah, for real. Because I'm like, there's no way in the world my kid is going to go to the kind of school I went to, for instance. I was telling somebody yesterday that I went to Umukoro Nursery Primary School. The primary school that you were taught bullshit. Our teachers didn't even know shit. I was singing, there's this lullaby they used to sing that day, Ifi Yaya, Ifi Yaya. That's what we were taught, but that's not Ifi, it was not Ifi Yaya, But it's crazy, right? But that's the kind of school I went to. So, what kind of a guy wants his kids to go to that kind of shitty school too, And so many things about life, I didn't learn them. I had to learn the hard way. I think I said this to you personally sometimes ago.
Right.
There are most of the things I learned, I had to learn them the hard way. But somehow, God has been gracious to me. I feel like the biggest thing that's happened in my life is that God found me early, and somehow I was able to build my faith early. My mind works in a different way, even though I didn't learn from anywhere, right? But my mind I feel like it's God's greatest gift to me was that I just had the mind to accommodate the kind of life that I want. And somehow I didn't learn from anywhere, but as I grew up, as I started reading, so the things I've used to believe, they exist. I started seeing other people expressing like, oh my God, so how did I know these things? Because I just thought it was God guiding me through my life. So I had a very rough background, but God has been good. I meet people who just cry my matter for head and all that kind of thing. And somehow, one of the things that also played out for me is, one of the things that left my mom is very good. My mom is extravagantly generous. She can give out her soul. I mean, that's where I learned take my soul from. My mom is she doesn't mind giving out the last food in the house to somebody else. And come tell us that, Seggun, we're going to be okay, alright, baby. We're going to find something else, but those people need our help right now. So as I grew up, I found myself living like my mom. As I relate to people, that part of me just, shows up more. Exactly. And people like, you're so kind, you're so that kind of just make people open to me, So people who are strict, who ordinarily people say, this is very strict, so you can't go around them. I'm around them, I'm working with them, and people are like, how do you do it? It's natural, bro, it's just natural. And so that's it. I think that's it for me. Yeah.
That's actually a very interesting story. Very interesting, I must say, like your journey. And recently I learned something, and this man was saying that he wants to be helped by God. You have to go below. We live in a generation where everybody is feeling like, oh, we have to be helped, but we forget that there are people below that actually need our help. Thank you very much for sharing. Also, I understand that this conversation is tilting towards starting from the scratch. So I want you to tell me and my corner mate, what was that starting from the scratch moment for you? That specific one you were like, oh my God, and tell us how it shaped you.
Okay, I have a lot of starting points. Until recently, before my God finally helped me have a firm grip on my life, just kind of 2 years ago now. But before that, I've had a lot of starting. So one that stood out for me was a couple years back. I was in Anambra State. That was I was living, and an opportunity came for me from Osun State. Somebody called and said, there's this job, it's a contract job to work on with the team, blah, 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 blah. Of course, I've had digital marketing skills for a couple of years. I do social media marketing and digital marketing and all that crazy shit. And so they needed a digital marketer on their team. So it kind of caught me up, and yeah. So what that meant, it was going to be a 3-month thing. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I go for 3 months, I'll not come back. What am I coming back to? Yeah? Nothing. Man, I wasn't really doing anything out of the box in a number at the time, So you will not believe I literally sold off my things.
Whoa.
I sold off my everything, my furnitures, my bed, my cooking wares. I mean everything.
Everything.
Everything. My TV set, everything I had. I sold it off.
Okay, please. This story is actually getting interesting. Go ahead.
And I packed my shit and I left Anambra State for Osun State. Did I have hope as per, Osun State is going to be... I didn't have any hope as such. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and do what I got to do and put in my best in it. And so whatever happens after then, I'm going to take it. So I packed my things. I mean, imagine packing, you're traveling, you're moving to a new state with just one bag. That's kind of it. So I got to a new state. It was big. I got into the job. We had a great time. After 3 months, I found myself at ground zero. Because after 3 months of working with those guys, of course, we had so much money. I wasn't thinking about what's going to happen next. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. Money's coming in, baby. It's good. And I'm just living one day at a time. I was eating what I want. I was living you would not believe. So I after leaving Anambra State,
okay,
I moved into a 5-bedroom duplex in Osun State. I was a big boy, that kind of thing.
Oh my goodness.
So after the entire 3 months was over, I saw my life in front of me and it was empty. It was empty. Because Osun State did not have could not reward what I have. Even the government, I'm sorry, because the contract work I did was with the government. But I just learned over the 3 months that these guys cannot pay me. They can't, because Osun State is not so exposed right now to tech,
Right.
to really big stuff that you want to explore and all of that. So I just knew that I got to move again. I don't know where, but I'm gonna have to move again. So long story short, I got stranded again because I blew off all my money. I got stranded and I needed to vacate my 5-bedroom. I got a smaller apartment, 2-bedroom. And I mean, all of this was without anybody's help. I mean, it wasn't like I had somebody in my life who was pumping money into me. No, it wasn't. There was nobody in my life like that. So after the 3 months was over, I moved into a 2-bedroom, and things got really bad. Things got really, really bad. I didn't have no jobs, no contractors coming in, nothing was coming in. I was literally depending on people to feed me. That's crazy. But God is good. So I had this neighbor, family, I'm married. There's a couple who for no reason they just loved me. You know, they'll cook. I'm like, bro Seggun, come and eat now. And all of that. So God, it kind of reminded me of the story of Elijah and the widow.
Right.
You know, the widow was feeding Elijah, that kind of thing.
You were
so
Elijah.
I was Elijah. These guys were feeding my ass. And they were really kind. Those guys were really kind to me. And it was so bad that I was borrowing money to feed. I was borrowing money to transport myself, to go to church, borrowing money. I was literally borrowing money. I mean, I was living on credit. It was crazy. I mean, it was in the days of the loan app saga. I mean, I used to borrow money on this loan app shit. You know, like shit, borrow money, borrow from this one, use some to pay this one back. I had that. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And then somebody said to me that, Seggun, you know you can't continue to live like this. Because at that point, I think I was losing it. But I didn't realize it, but I was losing it. But he said, like, Seggun, come on, you're bigger than this, right? You know, first off is you have to stop borrowing money. You know, just stop. If you want to die, but don't borrow money again. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Because I have a firm mind. I just know how to, when I say, I don't go do this thing again, man, I know they done again. So I got locked them, like, I'm never going to borrow money again. And started living my life. I reached out to a friend, I said, see, I need a job. How can I continue like this? Osun State doesn't have cannot reward me for what I do. I mean, people who are just starting businesses, they're struggling. They can't pay a digital marketer. I'm serious. Those guys didn't have the money. So I reached out to a friend of mine and said, you know what, I need a job. She was like, Lagos? I'm like, there's no way I'm coming back to Lagos. I don't want to come back to Lagos. Because while I was in Lagos was not my life. You know, it wasn't just for me. And a month later, she sent me a message. I'm like, Seggun, pack your shit. You're going to Delta State. And just like I left Anambra, sold off my shit, I did the same thing. Started again. Packed my shit, sold off what I could, gave her what I could, and moved. Literally moved to Delta State. And that was the miracle of my life.
Wow. That is a lot. That is a whole lot. Like, looking at how, like, you went from borrowing, to the point where you, like, have to borrow to, like, fend for yourself. That's actually something really amazing. And look at you now. Come again. Tell me something. That's very deep, and I must say congratulations. I know that you're big on mindset, because from everything we've said, like, this conversation is just about 20 minutes, and like, I've seen how you've said, oh, you're a firm person, you do this, you do that. So let's talk about mindset, starting from zero mindset for a bit. I am a young adult, and most of the people who listen to the Young Minds Corner podcast are actually young people, right? And many times we believe that we need permission to do a lot of things. Like, we need permission from family, we need permission from people, from the society, from our friends, even from money to do some of the things. So how can somebody break free from that mindset and indeed start something from seemingly nothing?
Okay, thank you. That's a brilliant question that not many people get to ask. Environment plays a big role in the quality of your mind. That's what I learned. Nobody taught me. Where you live, the kind of people that you see, kind of just shapes how you think life works. If you have lived in a ghetto all your life, let's say for 20 years of your life, and the fancy part of life, you've only seen it on the screen, you will just think it's unattainable because you have never had the opportunity of experiencing it. You know, you've been in that place where people lived average life. People lived from hand to mouth. They did menial jobs. Everybody's a organizer. Everybody's a tailor. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's something I grew up from. Everybody wants to learn tailoring. Everybody wants to learn ear making. Crazy shit. But environment for me has played a really big role. In fact, the reason I moved from Osun State at the time was one morning I woke up. My house was in an estate, but it was the kind of estate that you wake up and you're seeing tattered roofs. That kind of estate, everybody's roof is brown. It's crazy. Every house is a hold. I'm like, I don't want to be waking up to this kind of scene. I want to wake up to Wittek roofs, baby. Wake up to really fantastic Gerard roofs.
Right.
And it was after I started building that in my mind, that I started having the conversation of, you know what, I need a job. And then the recommendation came for me to move to Delta State, and I had the opportunity to live in now a firm GRA that had the kind of building I wanted to see and all of that, because I had first created the picture in my mind. So mindset is big, and unfortunately people in the West, I have a big problem with people from the Southwest. Not people, but the culture of Southwest. If you were born in Southwest and you lived there, and you've not crossed the border to experience other people's culture, you would think that the best there is to life is just to sit and hope that life is going to be good, because that's what I grew up from. It was not until I left and I lived in Anambra and I saw people wake up early, 6 o'clock. People shops are open 6 o'clock. People are about the business. I'm like, 1 p.m. we're still struggling to open business back there in the West.
And you even beg them at that time, and you're
right?
Like,
but here we are, 6 a.m. Shops are open, people have food is ready, you can eat by 6 a.m. You can get food, you can get anything you want. I said, this is the kind of life I want to live. So I started learning by observing that there's a quality of work that needs to go into your life for you to produce the kind of results that you want to produce in your life. You can't just attain anything by mere hoping that I just hope that one day God will smile on me. Bros, God is not going to smile on shit. You have to have something going on for you.
Yeah.
And it's in your mind. So if you don't, I said environment. If you don't get out of where you are, that's like the foundation.
Right.
It's like the basics. If you don't get out of where you are and put yourself in an environment that looks like where you're going, you may eventually not break out, even in your mind.
True.
Because I have a philosophy that the mind takes in information from our 5 body senses. I just figured it out. The things you see affect the image in your mind. The things you smell, the things you hear, the way you feel affects how your mind takes in data from all of these things. The kind of houses you see, the kind of cars you see, even the kind of guys as a woman, the kind of guys you see determines the kind of guy you're going to marry. If you're seeing average guys all your life, you will not desire to be with somebody who's above average. Right. If you're a guy, or everybody you have seen average babe, you not think that there's something more than just average, and you think that that's the best that life can give you. Well, there's more. Something I learned from a old friend of mine many years ago was when we left school, after 2 years of graduating. So there was this babe back then in school, that fantastic babe, brilliant and all of that. After 2 years, we just got talking for no reason. She just showed up in my DM on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, Miss Jack, how you doing? I'm like, oh, from where you doing? We started talking. She's fantastic, very beautiful. And somehow we started having conversations of, how about we just be together, that kind of thing. And then I decided to tell a friend, I'm like, how far? See that babe that time, yeah? She's showing up in my DMs. For some reason, I checked her profile. She looks like she has so much going on for her. I think I'd like to be with her. And then my friend said, bros, you have not been everywhere you can be. Why are you settling?
That's deep.
Like you have not been everywhere you can be. You've not seen everybody you can see. What makes you feel like
exactly?
Nah, she is. And I'm like, bro, say no more. That's why I stopped the conversation, because I said it's true. I've not been everywhere I could be. I've not seen everything I could see. So you should be. Everybody who wants something incredible in your life should be in that position of, I've not been everywhere I could be. I've not seen everything I could see. So until you have seen everything you could see and be everywhere you could be, don't make final decisions in your life yet. Don't make most important decisions in your life yet. But environment will play a big role. The kind of people in your life, the kind of people you see, the kind of places that you go, even restaurant. I remember a moment ago I was talking about how I do not worry about money. How did I get there? It was by experience. I had to train myself not to worry about money. In those days, you used to be afraid of walking into restaurants and when you go cost to, so you settle for mama put.
Right. Without even going there to experience it, to know how much.
Guy, go out, enter a fantastic 5-star restaurant. Their foods are affordable. You'll be surprised what 5K will give you. Actually. You spend the same 5K by the roadside. It's just a normal pepper and whatever. But you enter a 5-star restaurant, 5K will give you really good food. but plus the ambience, plus the people you get to see. These things are important. These are important data that your eyes will feed your mind with which you can create fantastic pictures. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's actually interesting. And you were key on positioning, like positioning with the environment, positioning with your friends, positioning with the kind of conversations you have. And that's actually something, because there are some places you find yourself that they cannot reward what you carry.
I made a video on that recently on my, I put on my TikTok. Talked about environment, like take your seed to where it can be rewarded.
Very important.
Don't go in the wrong soil.
Very important. I honestly believe that this generation, we have the highest number of entitled people. I know that this conversation is going poof, but like that was how it was coming to me. Like we have a number of very entitled people. I don't know why. Maybe because of the kind of generation before us. I was actually watching Pastor Ibukun Awoshika have a conversation early this morning. And she was talking about how to parent a child in surplus. I actually feel like this generation, we have more people that are very entitled to things because of the generation above have done the work, and like they're grooming you. My question is, how do we break free from this or tackle this dependency syndrome? Because when you were talking, you said a lot of things about how you were able to, like, you did everything without nobody coming to you. Like, I'm like, excuse me? In my mind, I'm like, no way. Like, how were you able to, like, break free from that dependency syndrome where you're like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. Like, I'll start.
Something I learned really early. Like I said, many of the things I'm sharing with you, I used to say God taught me. Like I said, I was raised by a single mom. She's not a man. Having to now grow up into a man that has to have life figured out takes a lot of work. And God helped me. I used to, over time, I believe that everybody is an individual. For instance, a family of 4, father, mother, and 2 kids. Everybody in that family is an individual. By that I mean that everybody has the right to make anything out of their life independently. Independently. Your life can work all by itself. You don't have to wait for somebody to push you. And if you're in a place where you need somebody to push you, man, just wait there, no problem. Life will give you what you ask. People are always going to push you, and they'll push you off the cliff. That becomes terrible.
Your story.
So how do you become independent? Is that first recognize that you are an individual, right? You have a life to live. There's a purpose for why God made you to come. Figure out your purpose, right? That purpose is inside of you. You're not looking for it. You're not trying to discover your purpose. Your purpose is right inside of you, right? Just define yourself. You asked the question earlier about profit and passion. There are things that I am passionate about that do not reward me in revenue, but in the long run, somehow these things, everything that goes around comes around. There's no way. These things just always come back to you. In some ways, some things do not reward you in money. They reward you with good people. Like I talked about my act of kindness earlier. Just because I'm able to, and it's what you give that you get. True. It is how you treat people that you be treated. I am a big believer of showing nature how to treat me. I just cannot show nature how to treat me. How do I want to be treated by people? So I treat people like that. I plant the seed. So I don't want to grow up and feel like I didn't do everything I should have done. Right. So what am I waiting for? My mom? My mom does not have so much. She didn't go to school, for instance. So will I wait for my mom to push me? Where will she push me to? Off the cliff, baby. She'll push me in the boundaries of what she knows.
Right.
My mom will tell me to go and learn Baba. I'm telling you, she'll tell me to go and learn plumbing work, because that is what she's seen. That's what she knows, right? So if you don't recognize that you are an individual, and then you put yourself to work, put a demand on yourself. Everything that are done by God's grace, and from time to time I've had to put demands on myself, including increasing my money. Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I need to increase my money. Let's add some more millions to my fortune. Right? And I'm beginning to ask myself some questions of, what do I gotta do? What conversations do I need to have? Who do I need to talk to? What kind of business should I get into right now? Because I know it is me who enjoys the dividends of all the goodness? It is me first hand before every other person comes into my life, right? So you can't wait for anybody to push you. You can't be dependent on anybody. There's time for everything. There's a time in your life where you're under your parents. But the crazy thing about parenting, I have a problem with some of these parents. The crazy thing about parenting is that because some of them, remember I talked about environment earlier.
Yeah.
Some of our parents are not exposed themselves. So they think that life is all about what they have seen. And so by the time you now come with some
strange things,
weird, they will talk you out of it. They will make you think like you're not doing anything. That what you're saying does not make sense. It is you that is exposed, that you should know that what you are asking is for yourself. You have the right to. For instance, I met a lady recently who's on my staff at my office, and she said, I just called her and I said, what would you have really loved to be? I look at you and I look like, I think you're a creative person. She said she would really love to be a musician, be in music, not like singing, but just know music, like be on the back end of music and be a musician. I'm like, so what's stopping you? It's like, our mom say music is for clouds, it's chasing clouds kind of thing, that it's not going to reward her, blah blah. I say, how old are you? She's 24 and she's subjected to what her mother thinks. And I say, why are you sorry? I say it is only a poor parent that will want to keep their children poor. Rich folks don't treat their kids like that. Poverty is a disease. I'm telling you, it is. So if you grew up in a place where there's not so much, your life is in your hand, and if you don't take it early, just like Great Darkman would say, you're going to learn the hard way.
That is very deep, bold, and very courageous. Honestly, you mentioned something about parenting, and it actually reminded me of a personal experience I had when I was growing up. I've always loved fashion. I wanted to learn it because I like to clothe people, right? And I remember when I wanted to learn fashion designing for the basic skill after secondary school, when they had a conversation with my dad was like, never. No, that you should go to school. I'm like, okay, now I'm done with school. It's not like I said I'm doing anything reasonable. Let me just get the knowledge and own it to myself. My dad said no. After a lot of back and forth, he agreed that I learn fashion designing. Guess what? After 2 years, guess who is always telling me that, don't I think I should go and learn? I make clothes for only female. Don't I think I should go and learn male attires, because he would like that I sew for him too. So I understand it when you say that our parents are not as exposed as they think they are, and they always trying to confine us into their limits with their mind. As I talk about your organization, you have a thriving organization, Kelch Tech Limited, the big name. So now let's talk about how to build a career or a business with little or nothing in this generation. Many times people would always come with this, money is a lot, money is the number one thing. Is money really the only obstacle when it comes to starting out?
Okay, brilliant questions that you guys have partly up to me. I don't even think money is important at all. Your audience can react to this in a very funny way, but money is the least of your worry if you want to start anything at all. For example, have you seen people who have money, they rent a store or a shop, they put goods, and then they don't sell? They're there 1 year, 6 months, nobody's coming to buy because they forgot the most important thing, customer. They don't have a customer base. First, they had a business. Your first responsibility, right, if you want to do anything, whether in your career or your business, is to connect with people first. Build a contact. That's the first thing. In fact, if I ask you a question of what's your problem, why have you not started what you want to start, you say it's money. I already know you were raised from a poor background. I just use that. We listen, we don't judge, but I judge. I'm serious.
You
right?
Condemn.
I don't condemn. Right there, I'm like, oh my God, this is another one. Right? So I know it's going to take a lot of work to get you to see differently from that position. Because if you think money is a problem, money is not your problem. For example, I was talking to somebody yesterday and she said she wanted to open a store. She would like to sell human hair, all this bone straight and what have you. And she said, capital is just my problem. I say, why is capital your problem? Capital is the least of your problem. What should you have done?
there are several other people who are doing the same thing. You're not reinventing the wheel, right? People are already doing what you want to do. Why not collaborate with somebody? Go find one person that interests you the most among those who are already doing it. Like, connect with this person and offer to help that person. Find out what that person is currently struggling with and offer to help them. Maybe the person doesn't have a sales girl, for instance. Offer to walk in to come and help them twice a week. Every twice a week, I'll just come and help you. While you are there helping the person you're learning, you're asking questions because you know why you're there. You're asking questions, you're getting access to free information, free data to guide you. You'll be learning the pitfalls of the business, how to do better. Now you can graduate that relationship and say, how about I start selling for you and I earn the commission? Let me refer businesses to you, pay people to buy. Thank God for the advantage of on social media right now. You can literally open an online store and have nothing to your name, and you're selling other people's products. So you could take pictures of the hair, you could wear it on your hair, make videos, and even spend money to promote it. So for a hair she would give you for, let's say, 100,000, you could sell it for 150k, depending on your marketing skill. That you have made extra 50k, right? That's half the money of the product. If you now save 5 to 10, you now have money to buy your own, at least 3 to start it. So imagine you are selling 3 now in your own name. You're making more money. That's how I see life, right? That's how I started.
We're going to get to the part where you started.
Okay.
So yes, don't tell us yet. Okay, that's actually very interesting, and I'm honestly learning from this as well. That you don't have to have all the money in the world.
You don't even have to have any money
to start something you really want to start. Like, you can actually collaborate. Right, but knowledge is...
Get the knowledge and go figure the rest out.
And yes, you have to be valuable to do that thing, because if the person you are trying to collaborate with is not saying something reasonable in you to
Everybody has something to give, actually. Everybody has something to give. There's nobody who has it all. There's something I need right now that I need somebody to give me. I might not even think I need it.
Right.
But somebody coming to give me that, I'm like, oh my God, how did you know I needed this?
Right.
And that thing, they say impression lasts a lifetime. There's no way in the world that will make me put you somewhere in my heart that, this kind of person I'm going to use and play. That's how life is. It's just how life works.
True, very true. More often than not, we hear this phrase of just start, as you've said, just start from somewhere, from anywhere. But what's the first practical way? Because you were already going into that. What are the first practical steps to take when someone is starting out in a career, a business with zero connection, zero money, zero experience or capital or anything? What are the very real steps for you to take? So now you can tell us about how you started.
The first thing is to learn. Go and learn. I made a video recently and I talked about that. You can become anything just by learning it. Right? Nobody was born a furniture. Nobody was born an interior decorator. People learned these skills and then they become that. Right? Nobody was born as an army or as a soldier. Nobody was born a police. People had to learn the tactics. Right? They had to learn. They had to be certified, and then they became. So life is first there's a doing before you be, before you can have. You have to do something before you can be something, before you can have something. Many people want to have something before they can do something to be something. It doesn't work that way. There's something you have to do. So what do? Is to learn. If you learn, once you learn a skill, you become the person who is able to dispense that skill. Once you are able to dispense a particular service because you know it's something, you can have anything. Connection. The connection is in the being, right? If, for instance, I make videos, right? I have a arm of my business that renders content creation as a service, right? So we make podcast videos for businesses, for thought leaders and coaches and consultants. It is by offering that service that I'm able to enrich my network.